solving is something that schools generally don't teach you.
No, I'm not on medication. I'm on weed though, and I feel hella good.
I got my sheet cake in the oven. We got dinner put together. My mom already got herself a bowl, being a good Italian woman. Yeah, I'll let you know in last vlog what we were having. We were having spaghetti, inspired by Carly Kloss's new children's book, inspiring children to do things with their minds and problem solve. It's a very good thing to teach children, especially as a woman growing older, with wisdom and, you know, grace, and instilling that on a younger generation. Beautiful, beautiful. The other thing you can instill is, you know, free will, determinism. You learning about determinism? I am. So anyways, so yeah, I am working on my vlog. That's what I've been working on. And then I stopped to make dinner, which was nice, since I made a bunch of spaghetti sauce one day. That's really nice about, like, doing meals like that. We've been doing a lot more crock pot meals and stuff. And that's something I did one day, is I did spaghetti sauce. Did the all-day sauce. And I'm like, I can make really good sauce for my family. And yeah, we'll have a really good meal, like, some nights and stuff. And then I have a bunch of cake mix that I was given, and yeah, because you guys are smart, okay? Raw. And I was just like, cake sounds good, you know. And I have these little cup things to make little individual cake things, so I thought I'll use those instead of the glass things I used to make the dot cakes in. I don't have any dots. Those were all used. So yeah, that's everything I'm working on. I put in some clips. What the? Yeah, computer being a computer. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna work on this, and dinner. I'll show you dinner once I put it together. I heated it up. It's all done. I'm just waiting for Patrick to get home. So I'm going to work on a little bit of this.
You
I'll see you.
are numb to it. The electric age is changing you.
I'm already in Miami's, of course.
It is changing your family.
Pasta. It's not as saucy as I would have liked it, but it's still pretty good. It's because I put a lot of meat in it. So it's like a bunch of pork and stuff. It's still really good. Like, it gets enough of the sauce. It's just not swimming in sauce. Love me some noodles, meat sauce, so yeah. It's actually still really, it's really good. I just would have liked it a little more saucy. Then I'm picky about when I cook and stuff. Patrick's like, this looks so good, and I'm like, I would have liked it a little saucier. Okay. Finished my vlog. So maybe later we'll do some reading.
That of the normal human environment pre-electric. And there's only one natural response to such overload, and that is pattern recognition.
The dangers are total. The chances of your understanding anything going on in your own time are very small.
Welcome. Another day. Coffee, reading, the Iliad, my Tanakh. I got an F in the last one, I know. I'm not your senorita. I am not from your tribe, which I could be from your tribe, actually, but that's for another day. Been reading this. You want to hear something interesting? You know the god Aries? Aries? Like the astrological sign? That's where that comes from. The god Aries, who's the god of war. Did you know that Zeus well, they say that Athena came out of a really killer migraine that Zeus had. Let me put you here. You know, a really bad killer migraine Zeus had, and out popped Athena from a crack in his head. Well, what you don't know is a lot. Athena was created as the answer to her brother Ares being such a fucking hothead and not listening and just going out there, seeing red and not understanding what he was looking at and destroying fucking everything. Athena was created because Zeus realized that war needed to be fought with wisdom, that life needed wisdom, not just pushing your way through and tunnel, you know? Why we read books like this. This is why we read books like the Iliad. You know what's funny is there's this one channel I watch, what is it, I'll probably link it too, but the guy, it's like, you know, people who kind of cover alternative news. Coffee. Focus camera. You know, people, you know, I'll link a couple channels. One of the channels is Sales Daddy. And, but anyways, he was showing that there are sections in the bookstore where you can get books on having a fantasy relationship with a hybrid. I know. There's a lot of trash books out there right now that's being hawked on Book Talk. Some people should find books that are about, you know, real love stories. And not these, like, well, I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, there are stories based off of, you know, hybrids and stuff, or what people thought was a hybrid or whatever, you know. We're talking about all that, right? Right? Well, there's a lot of other good literature about romance that would actually teach you things about romance that are good. That's why people love Pride and Prejudice so much. There's a lot of other good books. What is it? The Bronte sisters. They have a lot of really good books on, like, just even in general, just how rich people act and treat each other too. But, you know, they have a lot of those books and stuff. So there's a lot of, like, other things that you can be reading than these, like, fantasy romance novels with hybrids that are just meant to suck up your time and not teach you jack shit. No symbolism, no wisdom, nothing but generated trash, basically, so they can sell another series, maybe make a Netflix movie series franchise out of it or whatever. But it's never going to be anything like Lord of the Rings was, the original, right? It's not going to be like Dune is. Dune 3's coming. Remember, Dune fucked me up. Apparently it fucked up Charlie XCX too. Bitch. I'm ready. She's silly. Celebrities. They can't help themselves. But yeah, this is such a good book. I like reading it, and I'll be reading things that I'm like, like in here. I know this is probably stupid, but it describes Poseidon as having blue hair. And I was just like, oh my god, that is so dope. Poseidon had blue hair. I mean, like, I guess people depict Poseidon however they want to. I mean, he's a sea god, right? He's the son of a Titan, Kronos. But it was just really funny how I like reading in here, and it's like, with his blue hair, and I'm like, huh? It says, but the blue-haired god Poseidon crushed the spear and denied him the Argives' life. There's just so much there. It's like, the blue can stand for, you know, he comes from the sea and stuff, but blue can also be like a symbolism for, like, clarity, enlightenment, being cerebral. what else was interesting in here was it talks about Ajax. Now, Ajax was a giant. There, that same channel I was talking about. God, Sons of Thunder? Fuck, why can't I remember? I can't remember some of these channel names, but like I said, I'll link. It'll probably be in my playlist of what I watched. But, yeah, it says here, Ajax was a giant. Ajax was a giant, and there was actually a period of time where Ajax's tomb started getting washed out to sea. We actually have physical evidence that these events in this book happened. What was stylized and what wasn't is what people have the question about. But Ajax was a giant, and his tomb was getting washed out to sea, and I guess they had to exhume him and bring him back in. And he was a giant. He was a tall motherfucker. I forget how many feet they said, but I want to say it was like it was 8 feet or some shit like that. I don't know. He was a tall motherfucker. He was big. And in here, they describe how men used to be bigger, especially when they describe heroes. Here, it says Ajax yields to no one. Okay, let me start from the beginning because it's better. When it comes to men, great Ajax yields to no one. No mortal who eats Demeter's grain. I tell you, no one can break with bronze and voiled rocks. Yeah. Demeter's grain. Now, I've told you about Demeter's grain. Now, we've talked about ergot because I take it, right? I take an ergot derivative called cabergoline. And it comes from I guess Pfizer has a special pharmacy in Italy that cultivates this. And it's for my tumor. I have a prolactinoma. It's on my pituitary gland. And back in the day, too, I guess a lot of pituitary issues would sometimes contribute to a lot of the... Sorry, I got this music playing in the back here. But would contribute to a lot of, like, you know, like giantism and stuff. Like, we see that in our... Come in. My mom's like, can I come in? I'm like, yes, you can come in. It's a vlog. It's fine. Not a big deal. But yeah, so Demeter's grain. Some people speculate that Demeter bringing grain and stuff, and she also brought like barley wine and things like that. Well, back in the day, wine was never just wine. They mixed herbs and other things in it, and they would make ergot wine out of infected wheat. Ergot is a fungus, and it affects wheat. And if you eat too much of it, it'll kill you. If you get too much ergot, you will die. They call it ergotism, and you will die. There were periods during the medieval times where there were villages where they didn't know or weren't aware of ergot, and it affected their crop. They would eat the bread and die. Okay? But if you get a little bit of it, you'll hallucinate. A lot of people say that Vincent van Gogh, he took ergot, and that's why he would see all the colors in the sky, and the wheat just looked amazing to him because he was tripping. Now, ergot is an LSD. That's where we get LSD from. Back when they were, I think it was the 40s or the 30s, they were messing around with ergot, and they wanted to see what they could do with it, and that's when they started getting LSD and things like that. And then they, in the 80s, eventually got the medicine for my tumor. The other thing they're doing, too, is they're trying to figure out how they can make LSD type drugs, but without the psychoactive effect to give to people who have, like, brain damage, because that kind of medication helps create a neuroplasticity on your neurons, and it allows them to continue growing. Kids have a lot more of this, and that's why children are like little learning sponges, because your brain is more neuroplastic when you're younger, apparently. Well, you can take medications like that, and they make you super freaking smart, or very imaginative, or creative. And if you're someone who makes your living off of being a creative, you could see why they would want to try and source stuff like this. But yeah, Demeter's grain. She was, some people say, speculate she is also like the Greek deity of like LSD, that kind of stuff. The other thing too is Demeter's daughter, Persephone, is the one who was kidnapped by Hades and taken to the underworld and made his wife. And Demeter went all over the world trying to find him. She got stuck living in the underworld because she ate a pomegranate, and then it made it so she could not be in cold weather. And so Persephone during the winter times is under the ground, and that's why, you know, spring goes away and all the plants die. But when she comes out, when it's warmer, that's when everything is fruitful. And you see how that's connected to her mother, Demeter, agriculture. So, yeah, there's a lot of theories about what the pomegranate was. If this was a real person, did she get sick off of something and get like something where she couldn't experience cold? Like hepatitis is something you can get, and people used to get sometimes from agriculture that wasn't cultivated, or, you know, they were using certain types of manures or things. Well, if you're in a base underground, like a colony, and you're cultivating agriculture in different ways, and you bring in a new person who doesn't understand, like, you can't just eat something off a tree here, you need to wash it real well or something, because we got shit on it, like little shit. Do you see what I'm saying? They could get sick and end up stuck in the colony. That's just a possibility. We like possibilities. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Patrick's on his way home. And the other thing I wanted to point out is our Bible also points out in the beginning that these fallen angels, when they copulated with women, they became the heroes that we heard in old stories. Connected. You wouldn't think so, right? You wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think the Bible would be connected to Greek mythology, but here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Still want to know about dolphins, so yeah. Cheers to that.
Are numb to it. The electric age is changing you. It is changing your family. It is changing your neighborhood. It's changing your education.
Quiet, iPad, quiet. I'm watching Handmaid's Tale. Watching Handmaid's Tale and making my flashcards. Yeah. I gotta print off more paper though. So yeah. They make you watch so many ads on Disney Plus and Hulu, like, to the point where I'm like, I would pay a little bit more so I didn't have to see the ads on Hulu or Disney Plus as much when I'm watching Handmaid's Tale or Testaments. Whatever. Got my new book sent from New York. Really, really excited to read this. We'll probably be reading this tonight. I know. I didn't vlog last night. We had a bondiga soup. I hung out. What did I do? I read a little bit. And then I watched some of the reviews that lady I was listening to read the Testaments, which makes it easier to go over the Testaments. And then she points out some things in it that, like, I didn't real recognize or whatever. So it's been nice. It's a little easier, especially since, like, the Testaments can be heavy and you read it and you're like, oh my God. And so it's nice to have someone else be like, oh my God, that is messed up. What the hell, Aunt Lydia? What the hell, Aunt Lydia? Exactly. That happens a lot. Oh, I love this. I love this. This used to be at a library. Yeah, it was at a library at one point. Excited. So yeah, this is from 1969, and it is on Lectures on the Religion of the Semites, the Fundamental Institutions. Library of Biblical Studies. It was produced by them. Copyright 1969. It was first published in 1927, so this is the third printing, I believe. So it has updated stuff in it, but it's got things in here like stuff about the religious rites around the Semites community, like the gods, what they worshipped, how they worshipped their gods. Holy places. This goes into talking about jinn. Jinn. We've heard about jinn, you know, they're like, that's where we get genie from. But they're like a demon spirit. And if you get into jinn lore, like, they have their own, jinn will have their own families. They'll have, like, family issues. It's really interesting. Like, jinn folklore is really interesting because you'll hear stories like, there was a jinn who fell in love with a guy, and so they decided, but his family didn't want him to marry the jinn. So him and the jinn ran away. The female jinn ran away, right? And she would make him like presents, and it would like impress his new the new employees that worked with him and his employers and stuff. And then like one night, another jinn she was supposed to marry ties him to a railroad track, and he almost, it's crazy. Like, these jinn stories are like telenovelas or something. So yeah, there's that. There is caves, sanctuaries, sacrifices, preliminary survey. See? So this is just like a collection of lectures. First fruits, tithes, and sacrificial meals. That's a big thing, you know, as well. We've been talking about that there, you know, throughout the world, history, people take sacrifices in a different way, right? Which, honestly, you can't sacrifice somebody else's life because it's not yours. Just saying. Get in a lot of trouble by that. Miasma, but we know about miasma, right? Sacrificial gifts. Yeah, see? Taboos. Look, more gods, demons, and plants and animals. High places is the one that I was really interested in. There's a part in here about high places. Now, the reason why I'm interested in that is because the Maxwells, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, okay, their last name used to be Hotch. And a lot of people, like the Rothschilds used to have a different Jewish last name. And they said that they changed it when they moved into the ghetto, which a lot of other Jewish families didn't change their name when they moved into the ghetto. So I don't understand why that happened. So that's why I have this other book series. But the Maxwells changed their name after any kind of like, there was a period of time even before World War I where Germany, where the Spanish Inquisition had moved through Germany. Germany, I guess, had their own version of like an Inquisition as well. So they were putting Jews in ghettos, and that's when the Rothschilds supposedly got put into a ghetto. Was in Europe, was during that time period. So yeah, it gets complicated, but the Maxwells, there was no reason for them to change their last name to Maxwell from Hotch. Hotch meant high place. It meant tall people or high place. It meant high place. High place is a place where you would generally sacrifice things We seen this in Babylonia. You see this in Semite. What is that? What's that about? So I'm going to be reading some of this. I love these older books, especially since they're chopping them up. This one I got a really good deal on because, you know, it was an old library book and it's got some damage and stuff, but it's getting a new life. It's really great because, you know, like, I got this book and its life was spent on the East Coast and now it's getting a new life on the West Coast. So it's going to help us figure out some stuff here. Or at least me learn some shit while I'm alive here on planet Earth. So I'm going to go back to my flashcards, my show, Friday.
Are numb to it. The electric age is changing you. It is changing your family.
Oh, you sing good morning? Pretty.
Good morning, Noe.
Say good morning. Aw. You sing good morning to the birds? Yeah? You sing morning birds? Huh? You sing good morning to the birds, Snowy? What are they saying to you? Are they saying stuff to you? Aw. Pretty Noe. Pretty. Good morning. It is breakfast. I am making biscuits. I'm trying a recipe I found on YouTube. Will link it. Probably put it in the playlist thing, which I gotta start. So, got coffee. Coffee cheers for the morning. Another longer vlog, but you guys know. Last night I just sat around. Actually, I will show you a little bit of what I sat around and did. Been working on my flashcards, which I need to get more scotch tape for. And let's see. To get to my floor. Yes, I still sleep on the floor in the living room because of my night terrors. I will fight and hit and kick whoever is in the bed with me when I have night terrors. So I am afraid of hurting Patrick in the middle of the night because it's happened when he's had to wake me up. And I talk a lot. It's just so I sleep on the floor, and I also like sleeping on the floor for my back. My back, my SI joints, and my disc, it's so fucked up. I can't handle the springs on the bed. So like that moving when you get on the bed, even though you'll get the Tempur-Pedics and stuff, can't do it. You hear my mom talking to baby Noe? Yeah, he's so cute. We're gonna get him buttons to talk. So I was working on my cards. So I was working on my cards. Let me show you a little bit of my cards. So one of the things I've been doing, and I'm gonna eventually type it out, and that way I have it formatted on the computer. And then I have this notebook. Where's my notebook? I'm like, where did I put it last night? I remember being like, I'm done with this, and I slid it over. It's in a black hole. It's gone. Oh, duh. It's on my keyboard. It's sitting on my keyboard. This. So I have a bunch of, here. Let me set you guys up. I know, I'm still in my yammies, but, you know, you're pretty used to that shit by now. You know, because of my chronic illnesses and whatnot. We're always in a liminal state over here, apparently. I have a tumor, the back thing, the pain. All we can do is try. So, I write down, I have all my cards, but I have in here, I have a master list here when I made my cards, but they're all like, tarot's based off of like Freemason elements and stuff. So, And the tarot was kind of hard for me to connect to, because I like nature signs. I like signs that come in nature, or like, not like astrological as you would know it, but like things that are happening currently in transit. And I don't mean like it's Mars retrograde. I mean like there's a comet that is going through this part of the astrological symbol, and it's fucked up with the sun. Like, something hit the sun recently, and we've had a big coronal mass ejection. That has a big part to do with us astrologically too. That is sometimes when you do get, Chi told me this, when you get horoscopes done and they look at your charts, sometimes it's a little off because they're not accounting for the weather elements, the solar weather. Do you see what I'm saying? The planetary weather. Like, there's weather going on in space. We just don't think about it because we don't think of it as affecting us, but it does. Just like if something hits the sun, there will be a coronal mass ejection. That can give us earthquakes, tsunamis, high tides. So the big tides we've been having and stuff, that's part of it. So it has, and volcanoes too. So, I mean, that has a lot to do with causing a lot of disruption, especially with the magnetosphere, and that affects us as humans. The magnetics and the aura borealis, and that all affects us as humans. So, there's a channel, Stephen Burns. He talks a lot about this stuff, and he integrates astrology into, looking at the solar. Sorry, I have like a hair, and my hair's everywhere. Per usual. So, let's see. So yeah, I'm doing more nature sign type moment. So, I got on here like a lot of animals that we would see around here, because sometimes I do get nature signs from like the owls and the hawks. The owls specifically. I've lived where I lived basically my entire life, except for the little bit when I was homeless in my 20s when we were house squatters, but I've never seen owls until the last year. Hawks, but yeah, we get coyotes too over here too, but that's another thing. We got the CV link, and it's with the wash, so yeah. Anyway, so I got that. Horses, we got horses by us. Peacocks, there's peacocks in Southern California. Pigeons, that's a common bird. Crows. I got I put an ibis on here. That's usually like, that could be a swan too. And here's the other thing too, is here's my cards. So I also got bighorn sheep on here. And let's see, I got bighorn sheep on here, or I want to have bighorn sheep. See, these cards I got from Amazon, and they're blank on the back side, and then you can draw your own card on this side. The only problem is they're not as good folding them, but, so, I also did, like, this one is snow. So, like, you can kind of form a picture by so I usually draw 3 cards, and I try to get, like, a picture or something from it. Oh, my camera's gonna die. Uno momento. Sorry about that. So, I draw 3 cards, and I try to get, like, a picture or such from that, or, like, an idea. And for me, it's a little bit easier than drawing, like, multiple archetypes and having a whole thing. And plus, the thing about this kind of thing, I also got, like, symbols and numbers. I got planets. I have elements. I have weather. I have colors. I have directions. Yeah. I have the like north, south, east, west directions, as well as up, downs, left, right, and all that. And with these, you can start to get a better, like an idea. And the thing about it's kind of the same way with a tarot, but I feel like it's easier for me to get a grasp on is that these are symbols that we can like decode like literary and like also psychologically and stuff, and we see them in like, you know, literary. Like a lot of these symbols show up in my symbolism book. Dictionary. This is a symbolism dictionary. Ooh. This is my symbolism dictionary. It's really good. There's a lot of symbolism in here that you can't get off of Google, that you can't just get off of ChatGPT. And so, I will go through and I'll decode these things with this. And so I've been anywhere I can get any kind of information, like even in my studies, like when I was going through, what is it? Is it this book that I was studying? It was this book where it was talking about different directions and what they mean, like biblically and things like that. And so I was like adding that in as well. And you know, there's different like in Hebrew, there's different like superstitions or folklore or around certain symbols and things. So I'll add that in too. Especially, I'm also reading. We read part of the Iliad the other day. Well, I'm also using that's where I kind of started was bird augury, you know, where you read bird signs and stuff, and that's where we kind of started there with my teaching and went from there. And so as I go through the Iliad and also the Testaments, and the Handmaid still has a lot of symbolism in it. Those symbolisms I can put into my cards and then use them. And that picture I can get, like last night I was drawing just to like mess around, and I got right, Venus, and Saturn. And so right, Venus, and Saturn, we can use that in a lot of ways. So we can say like the right hand path, you know, the right and left hand path. Traditionally, the left hand path is more creative, and the right hand is more thinking. Is right creative or what? But what was I looking at? Okay, here we go. In bird augury and like when you read nature signs, a lot of times the left and right will be dependent on the animal or things like that. But biblically, like we can also see like in Genesis 48, for example, in the Bible, it talks about the left hand and the right hand path. And we can gain from that, for example, the left hand path symbolizes a secondary position, a lesser honor. But it also stands for strength and judgment. It is a secondary blessing. So a left hand path, for example, this is left. If you got left, it could mean that you're not necessarily going to get something to work out for you. But, you know, it'll be like a silver lining, say, right? Well, where's the right? Where's my right hand path? So if you look at the right hand path, just biblical meaning, strength, power, authority, and victory, it's the firstborn. And it also means loving and kindness. Yeah. So, but if we go over here, so for example, I had crows. I just saw crow. So crows, if you see a crow and it crosses over to the left-hand side, that has to do with like having a hidden enemy or past influences or unresolved issues. Do you see how that changes a little bit? And then the right, future outcomes, protection through awareness, advantage through intelligence. See, do you see how that changes because it's an animal, you know? So, there's a lot we can see with these symbols, and it can kind of take shape and form. The way I had it explained to me is that fate is like water, and it's like water that is flowing, right? And it is just, it's gonna go, and it's going to push through whatever's in its way. We can build a dam, we can redirect the water, we can kind of stop, so maybe the flow and control the flow of it. We can bend it, you know, and redirect it. We can put it in pipes, we can split it up. But no matter what we do, the water's going to come. That's fate. No matter what you do, you can't stop fate. It's going to come. And that's the thing. Magic, basically, magic. With magic, sorcery, witchcraft's more like herbal, stuff like that. But sorcery, you can manipulate that fate a little bit. Do you see? Kind of like getting a talisman to help you, you know, with, I don't know, you know how some women will get certain things, fertility items, or go see like certain fertility items when they're trying to get pregnant? It's like that. It's like, hey, you know, this isn't working, but maybe if I go and pray to this certain saint, or I read these certain Bible verses, I can bend and shift fate a little bit and get what I want. Or get a lot closer. I don't know. Or protect myself from something. Do you see what I'm saying? You can also put life rafts on so we can float with fate. It's better to go with fate, but yeah, so that's what I was sharing with you. Eventually, I would like to type these up so I have a printed thing, you know, that I can print out and stuff, whatnot, but that's what I'm working on. And then I can get more cards to add to it, which is fun. So it's like, you know, my own like Pokemon deck, you know, gotta collect them all. Tarot cards, like, you know, the Pokemon deck of tarot cards, gotta catch them all, right? So yeah, I even got cats and dogs in here. Yeah. Black, the color black is used to bring rain. Did you know that? You can use the color black to bring rain. It's interesting. So yeah, I got numbers in here, shapes, circles, stars, all kinds of stuff. So that's a lot of fun. I just wanted to share with you. I have them here in this like deck thing. This like deck thing here. And then I have some crystals. I have a compass, because sometimes direction, I don't know, Chi-Chi says that I'm not there yet, so. But, and then I have crystals in here, and I'll show you what I have in here. So, copper, we talk about copper and quartz. They use them in radios, and it's good for transmitting. So, if there's any, like, psychic ability or something that we're transmitting somewhere, I figured, well, these are good symbolic, you know, like a radio, right? The other thing, too, is this has got the golden, what is it, the golden ratio? Is that what it is? You know, where it's a seashell, but you know, the spiral, right? And then I also have a fluorite, which is basically like a tetrahedron. Is that what I was saying? But yeah, you know, like a star. And the way it's got sacred geometry in it, and it's got, you know, these hermetic principle, or, you know, Pythagorean, blah, 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 hidden secret philosophies, all that crap I've been reading. You know what I mean? Sacred geometry in it. You know, sacred geometry with fractal universe and stuff. And these are the shapes that make up the universe. Plato said that we're all made up of little triangles, and when you look at sacred geometry, it's true. Like, this is just a bunch of little triangles. So yeah, my biscuit's steamed. My mom's already making the bacon. I know, I'm learning about being Jewish, and We're eating bacon. Well, I mean, I never said I was a good anything. Yeah, but you guys all know that. You guys all know that about me, so. Yeah, and then I have it in this little pouch here. And then on the end, I tie it up. Everything's together with my compass and my crystals. And then I have this little, I've had this since I was a kid, little sword thing. And I just, yeah, keep it over here with the Bible. My Bible that I got in middle school. Yeah. Good times. And then my wand's over here. I like to use this to hold my pages when I'm reading. You know, when the pages so they don't flip around. Yeah. Let's go check on biscuits. Like, you can come with me to check on biscuits. Let's check on biscuits. Hi, Noe. The cat's looking at me like, what are you doing? You're such a weird human. Yeah. Raw. Ooh, these look good. Look at that, guys. Hell yeah. Biscuits. I'm going to link this recipe for you. Oh, yeah, they got a little bit. That's okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
Changing your education. It's changing your job. When are you going to do?
Hello. It's a few days
Changing
later.
your government.
Don't look too disheveled, right? I got myself pulled together. Here I am. I don't have my bracelets or my necklaces on. While I put my bracelets and necklaces on. So, one thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, since I have experience dealing with it when I was an EMT, is you guys have all seen the news about Perez Hilton. We know he's had a medical emergency, right? I just wanted to talk a little bit about this as someone who worked in that profession, who dealt with people who were going through traumatic issues, and as someone who learned how to deal with those issues after the fact. You know, the feelings you have after an incident. Because I was trained to deal with those people. Okay, so one thing is I know a lot of people after seeing what happened with Perez Hilton are very upset, and rightfully so. That is a very traumatic thing to see, especially if you've never seen that before and that is your first time ever encountering someone that is going through a mental health crisis. Especially someone who, I'm just going to go, honestly, I know a lot of people are really freaked out. That is actually typical. What Perez Hilton, his break, that is actually a more common occurrence than more people realize. You just don't always hear about it unless it's on the really, really, really bad side of things, you know, where cops show up, right? Or we know about it because it's someone who's famous, like Perez Hilton, and he was online and he was streaming it, right? Which, there's the whole social media thing, which, guys, I know a lot of people are upset about, I'm missing a bracelet here. Where'd it go? Probably fell. Oh, there it is. I thought it fell into a black hole, but it didn't. This is the pretty one. Is that pretty? It's one of my favorites. No, it's uneven. Yeah, better. Anyway, so, social media platforms don't give a shit. They don't care what's on there as long as they're not legally liable. It's all about legality. They don't care. They don't care. They just don't care, okay? So people being upset about that being on TikTok and stuff, it's just like, they don't care. So back to, that is actually common. to see people do that is common. It's actually more common than not for people to take off their clothing when they're going through a mental health crisis, because they don't want to. A lot of times they're feeling constricted, or they're feeling like they're suffocating, or the world is coming in on them, and they will want to take their clothes off. That's common. I've seen that a lot. They will do weird stuff to relieve the feelings they have. And that can go in all kinds of directions, you guys. When people are going through mental health things, they do all kinds of weird things to relieve the feelings that they're having. And that's why there are trained people like, cops, first responders especially, or a crisis team to come in and help deal with people who are having these issues, which thank God, a crisis team came in, the cops came in, they knew how to properly deal with him. They knew he was having a mental health issue, and he's getting the help. So, what do we do with our feelings as people who had to go through that and witness that? Well, yes, you are valid in feeling how you feel. That's a hard thing to witness, and you are allowed to feel however you want to feel about that. The other thing, a lot of times after situations like that, it helps to talk to someone. So if you are in therapy and this is something that has affected you, I know a lot of us think it's on social media, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Well, it is. And you can talk to your therapist about it. They will have tons of things for you to do to help you mitigate what you're feeling. Very easy, very simple. Because it's something they know how to deal with, because things affect people like that. We're going to encounter traumatic situations like in a second or third party kind of way. And they're trying to deal with that. They talk to people all the time. The other thing, you hear my cat? He's trying to chime in. No, we're out here. It's like he forgets that we're in the living room. And it's like, you walked into the bedroom. You chose to go into the bedroom. That was your choice. After something like this happens, and I know it's hard for people, but sometimes taking a break from the news, taking a break from watching it over and over again is great. And doing something that disengages you with the news. One of the things that my mentor got me into doing, and Chi-Chi, was reading. And you can get I have this book. So if I need to disengage, this is a collection of essays. And I can read one of these, and I usually fall down a rabbit hole with this. It's crazy. And I start reading the Bible or Bible passages, and then looking up with the different translations, and then I go into the Talmud, and then I'm reading the Mishnah, and I'm just going all over the place, right? And I'm texting Chi-Chi, and I'm like, what do you think of this? And she's like, doesn't matter what I think about it. What do you think about it? And I'm like, so I was eating earlier. I got crumbs in my mouth from having banana bread my mom made me. So good. I'm a gross human being, though. So having things to take your mind off of it. Pets. Pets are great. My pets are around here. Noah, you heard him, right? Spending time, disengaging and spending time with your dog, your cat, your bird, your pet, your lizard, your snake, whatever, is great. Pets are very positive. Taking time to look around and think about how grateful you are for the small things you have. Like, I'm grateful to have great fucking coffee. Coffee is bomb. It's really good. I've been getting this Brazilian cold brew. It's so good. And then I have this sugar-free vanilla creamer. It's a Kroger brand, too. It's so good. So, you have stuff like that. Painting. listening to music, good music that makes you feel good, doing something that will get your mind off of it, and generally things that are not electronic, like your phone. Now, the phone wasn't a thing when I was an EMT as much as it is now. Social media really wasn't a thing. It was and it wasn't. But watching a movie, a good movie, one of the things... Philip was scratching his head and he's in the box and it's making this thumping noise and it's like, you sound like a bunny. Are you a bunny? He's a thumper. So, watching positive things. So, like, one of the things me and my mom like to do together is we'll watch Hallmark movies. She loves Hallmark movies. She loves, old-timey, Victorian, early turn of the 19th century type of stuff. She loves just, like, fluffy, Hallmarky type of movies. And so, like, I'll watch some of those together. You've Got Mail is one of our favorites we put on when we just need to feel good. You know, if you have a feel-good movie, put that on. There's a lot of things that you can do to help you. And sometimes it's just a little bit of a hump you have to get through because it's a lot. It just happened. We just all this. I didn't see it. I didn't need to see it. But I've heard people talk about it being on TikTok, and I've witnessed those things. I don't need to see it again. You know what I mean? But, you know, just taking some time for yourself. And that's okay. You know, it's a lot. People are not supposed to see things like that. But because of the way we're interconnected, okay, I think he's done. The way we're all interconnected, you're going to bound to see unfortunate things like that. Especially since these tech companies, they don't care. They don't care as long as they're not legally responsible. They don't care, okay? So, people, it's just a waste of time to sit around and say, TikTok, do better. TikTok don't care. They don't care. None of these social media care. So, but just remember, just take some time for yourself. And as much as this was very jarring for people, unfortunately, this is common. This is very common for people to go through in, especially the United States, is mental health issues like that. We're just very, very lucky that we're getting to a point where these people can get help, that they're not, you know, just put away in a prison or something. And like I said, the taking the clothes off is actually super common. That is super common. The doing destructive things to yourself, very common, because they're trying to relieve the feelings in their head, and they're trying to unrestrict themselves or feel some kind of relief, and the taking off the clothes and doing these things, their brain is telling them this is going to help because it's like it's backfiring. That's what a doctor told me once. He's like, their brain is backfiring and it's telling them, do this, and it's not helping, and it's just, and it's, you know, that's why it's like we have to go in and be cautious to mitigate it, you know, because there's a bunch of misfirings happening in their brain right now, and this is one way we can help them, is coming in very calm and like, you know, this is okay and we're here to help you and, you know, we love you and here's, you know, we're professionals, we're here, this is not a big deal. And that's the thing is like, it's, like I said, this is actually sadly a common thing. So anyways, this has probably gotten long. Take time for yourself. Read a book. Go for a walk if you live in a nice area. It's too hot where I live. Watch a movie. You Got Mail's a good movie. So yeah. A lot going on in the world, right? A lot going on. Also, a list of people who support hurting children. in Gaza. Miriam Adelson, Roman Abramovich, the Phallic family, F-A-L-I-C. Phallic? Sounds like phallic with a P-H, you know? Ira Renart, Irving Moskowitz, which he's dead, but I'm sure his family still supports, right? And Charles Kushner, the Kushners, right? Which, I mean, Carly. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people have been problem solving, and it's a new day, and we don't do things, we don't sacrifice children anymore. And sometimes they'll tell you, oh, this is a great honor for your child. Like, on both ends, it's the same thing. What happens to these dedicated children is just the same thing as these children who are getting pew-pewed in the Middle East. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. Don't think that your son's going to be special, Carly. He's just going to be another tool for a bigger purpose. And what is that bigger purpose? What is it? Who are you trying to conjure up in the Holy of Holies? Because I've been reading about that. I got all my printed pages of the Talmud. I've been reading on that shit, okay? This book that y'all try to make very expensive has been telling a lot about what that was. Weather manipulation. You guys all been seeing that off of Florida? It's all the same shit. Is that really Izzy? Is that Izzy? I'm related to some of the people in this book. I found out. You know what's funny is, it's like, when a group of people is doing something wrong, God will send in one of their own to tell them what they're doing is wrong, and shit's gotta stop, right? Usually the best person to tell you that you're doing something wrong is another family member, right? Maybe this is God sending in a family member to tell the rest of the family they need to knock it the fuck off, or they're going to get punished like the way the Jews have been punished in the past. Because that's something else I've been reading, is that they all feel like the first temple was destroyed because of the Jews and what they were doing. What's going on now? Do you think God's going to be happy with you fucking with his plan? I don't think so. All these stars are your guys because I gave them to you, and God gave them to you. He gave them to everybody because it's a new day and it's a new myth, and we're moving forward into a future where we don't sacrifice children that God has his own plan for. You can't dedicate your kids anymore, okay? God's done with that bullshit because you misconstrued that, and you're making him look bad. You're making God look bad, and God is done with that, apparently. So, new day, new myth. New shit's gonna hit the fan, guys. I'll see you in the next vlog. I'll link this free book again. Free!
Do you think that when people are buried, they always stay there? Are you crazy? I might be. But then again, I might not.
Problem solving is something that schools generally don't teach you. You know, a lot of people don't have a good generalized approach to problem solving. They're not thorough, don't consider all the possibilities, prepare themselves with the right information. If you can develop a kind of generalized approach to problem solving, it's surprising how it helps you in anything.
I don't think. I know.
Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.